What's amazing to me is that there's been a lot of consternation that Facebook and Twitter and other social media companies are having this big secret meeting to discuss the upcoming elections. But what's important to realize is that the reason why they're doing this is because the federal government hasn't stepped in and done what it should be doing. It shouldn't, this integrity of our elections shouldn't be dependent on a bunch of 32-year-olds finding time to have beers together. This is something that the federal government should be doing.
I think that's a key point you make, because in these reports, no signs that, and we saw a meeting that involved the federal government back in May, and then we saw reports that these companies were discouraged by the way those discussions went. They don't seem to be invited to this meeting today. How do you read into that?
Well, what I read into it is that the government is not sharing information, and most importantly, the government isn't setting up this meeting. You're exactly right. There were representatives of the federal government who were invited to the last time a meeting like this happened. But that shouldn't be the dependent variable here. The dependent variable here should be whether the federal government has a concerted plan to stop meddling in our elections, to protect us from cyber attacks. You know, for years, there's been conversations about the fact that we need a cybersecurity czar. And yet, we haven't really seen a lot of momentum on this. Now, if you talk to Congress, they'll say that there's a lot of bills, and they're exactly right, that are pushing for this. But the truth of the matter is that the only way that you could get concerted protection is if the White House, the president, really steps in to push for the appointment of a new position, a cybersecurity czar, that can coordinate all the really good work that's happening at a lower level.
They say they don't want to do that, right? Aren't they pointing to Homeland Security sort of already having oversight for that? I think there's even been pushback against the recent legislation.
Absolutely, and it seems like the White House is a little distracted right now by other things that are going on, and not really eager to talk about the risks that are posed by meddling in elections. But the truth of the matter is that we are seeing right now in other parts of the world the huge damage that can be done. Wired magazine has a great piece this month about the attack in Ukraine, the NotPetya attack. And not only the effect that it had in Ukraine, where it essentially knocked about a quarter of the country's computers offline, but the spillover effects. One of the largest shipping companies in the world has incurred billions of dollars of damage. Merck has incurred billions of dollars of damage because this virus that was targeting Ukraine went wild. And until there is a concerted effort to try and coordinate protection around this, it's going to continue happening, and it's going to get worse.
Charles, there's the argument to be made that social media was made to meddle in other people's business. I mean, that's what we're all doing on it. So is this fixable? I mean, what can they really do to keep people from meddling in other people's business politically?
It's absolutely fixable, but it's not particularly fixable by the companies themselves, right? The great thing about social media and the internet, as you pointed out, is that even a dog on the internet, no one knows you're a dog, right? Anyone can do anything. It's a great cartoon. And it's exactly right. This is why we love the internet, is because I can sit in my pajamas in my living room and tell the CEO of Apple what I think he should do with his company. And the truth of the matter is, so can foreign actors in other countries tell me how I ought to vote.